moment that used to live in romance films has almost completely disappeared. The one where two people decide it's over and the film lets them stay broken up. Most of us can't name the last time we saw one on screen. So what replaced it? And what does it cost us when films stop showing the actual ending of a relationship? The first thing that replaced it is mostly time jumps and lies about how easy the relationship was to end. And that's just the first.
The second thing is much more deeper and surprising. Back to time jumps though.
Take the idea of you from 2024. Solin is a divorced mom in her 40s running an art gallery in LA. Hayes is the 24-year-old lead singer of a boy band that's pretty clearly coded as Harry Styles and his bandmates. They meet at Coachella, where Solin has taken her teenage daughter Izzy to the festival, and they actually fall for each other in a way the film does the work for. There's a stretch of about 30 minutes where they're sneaking around together, and the film lets you feel why they want each other. Then the relationship goes public. The paparazzi finds out. Photos start showing up online. Izzy starts getting harassed at school over her mom dating a pop star. The thing they were trying to keep private has cost the one person who didn't ask for any of it. So Solin ends it. The breakup conversation is good. The reasons are real. They both know what they're losing, and they both accept that the other person can find another shot at love, even if it isn't them. He flies back to his world, she goes back to hers. The film cuts to black. It's actually quite powerful. Then the film jumps forward 5 years, and what happens after ruins what it built before. In the new timeline, Izzy finished her studies and is doing well, living in Chicago by herself. Hayes is on a talk show in front of a live audience. Then we cut to the next day, where Solin is in her art gallery. The bell rings, she goes to see who entered, and it's Hayes. Credits roll. What the film did is write a breakup it didn't believe in. The reasons for ending the relationship were real. The cost to Solin was real. And the screenwriters still couldn't write the relationship as actually over. So they wrote a way out of it into the script itself. 5 years pass, the daughter is fine, the public has moved on, and now it's safe to give the audience what they came for. This is the most popular workaround in the genre. Anyone But You built the entire third act around this same trick. Set It Up does the same, and basically every Hallmark Christmas film made in the last 10 years uses some version of it. There are other workarounds in use too, but they all do roughly the same job. Some films make the partner someone you weren't supposed to like anyway. Right when the relationship needs to end, the script reveals they were cheating on the protagonist, or being cruel in ways the audience hasn't been shown yet. The breakup that follows is clean because we've been told who to blame for it. Nobody has to feel anything when two people split up if one of them turned out not to deserve it. He's Just Not That Into You runs most of its plot lines on exactly this engine. Ben and Janine are married.
I slept with someone.
I heard you. You tell me this in Home Depot because you know I hate a public scene.
No, that is not what.
Janine has been carrying the relationship for years. Ben starts cheating with Anna, the new love interest in another character's storyline, and the film waits for Janine to kind of end the marriage. She tries to fix it at first, but when she finds a box of cigarettes, she finally comes to her senses. She doesn't like a smoker, nor someone that lies about it. So when she finally ends it, the audience can stop feeling guilty about wanting it to happen. The marriage was already over. And if the cheating wasn't enough permission, the smoking and lying about it was. What the move does is hand the breakup a reason that doesn't require any conversation. Cheating skips all of that. The character gets to leave without having to make the choice, and the audience gets the breakup without having to sit with the loss. The timing is usually too convenient to ignore. The cheating usually gets discovered right when the new love interest is becoming available. The morality and romance line up exactly. Leaving is allowed because the other person turned out to be bad, and starting over is allowed because someone better was already waiting in another scene. Plenty of films don't even bother showing the breakup. A character mentions they used to be married, and the film never tells you what ended it. So, how do you show it the right way? In Blue Valentine, Dean and Cindy spend the entire back half of the film failing to talk to each other. They go to a themed motel for a weekend that's supposed to fix their marriage. It doesn't. Dean drinks too much. Cindy gets quiet. There's a scene in the bathroom where Dean is sleeping on the floor while Cindy is brushing her teeth. She leaves him in the motel room, leaving a note that she got a call from work asking her to come in. They also have multiple fights, like in the parking lot. Oh, and Dean shows up at her medical clinic later that day, drunk, in the same clothes from the night before, and they fight there too. Each version of the conversation ends a little more conclusively than the last. By the final scene, when Dean walks out pushing their daughter to go back to Cindy, and they both walk opposite directions, the breakup has been happening for at least an hour of screen time. There was no single moment when it ended, it just slowly eroded over the third act, with both of them watching it happen and neither of them able to stop it. The film writes the breakup as a sequence of failed attempts to say what the other person can't bear to hear. Both characters are wrong and both are right. The marriage isn't ending because someone cheated or because someone turned out to be a different person than they seemed. Okay, maybe Dean got a little worse, but it's ending because two people who used to want the same things changed in different directions over the years they were together. But an even better example would be past lives. Nora and Hae-sung are childhood friends in Korea. They fall out of touch when Nora's family emigrates to Canada at the end of elementary school. 12 years later, they reconnect over Skype as adults, talking late into the night across a 15-hour time difference. They drift apart again because long distance was always going to win. 12 more years pass. By the time Hae-sung visits Nora in New York, she's married to Arthur, building a life she doesn't want to walk away from. The third act of Past Lives is just the three of them sitting at a bar in Manhattan. Nora and Hae-sung are speaking Korean to each other while Arthur sits behind them.
나 보고 싶었어?
방금
신랑을 만났잖아.
너도 여자친구 생겼잖아.
Partially understanding, partially not, watching his wife reach back into a version of herself he's never met. There's a moment where Hae-sung asks Nora about the version of them that didn't happen, and she tells him that version would have been real, that she left that version 20 years ago, with him. And then she stays sitting next to her husband. The film ends on a sidewalk. Hae-sung's Uber has just arrived. Nora walks him out. They stand together for a long time without saying anything. Then he leaves and she walks back to her apartment, walking us along with her. Arthur is waiting for her on the steps to the front door of her building, and Nora falls apart in Arthur's arms. What just happened is a breakup, and it's also an act of love. Nora is letting go of something she cared about for 30 years because the life she actually built means more to her than the life she imagined. Hae-sung is letting go of her because he loves her enough to want her to be happy, even if it means he'll never get the version of her he came across the world to find.
Okay, last example. I'll make it quick. One I'm sure you'll know though.
La La Land. Mia walks into a jazz bar 5 years after the last time she saw Sebastian. He sees her from the stage and starts playing the song that played the night they fell in love. The film gives you a 5-minute fantasy of what their life together could have looked like, then snaps back to the bar, and Mia and Sebastian look at each other across the room, and she smiles, and she leaves with her husband. They didn't have a breakup scene either. They drifted apart because two people who loved each other wanted different lives, and one of them couldn't follow the other to where she needed to go. These films don't give you closure. They don't tell you which decision was right, or whether the people involved will heal cleanly afterward. They sit with the fact that two people can love each other and still have to end something. The ending doesn't undo what was real about it, and that is what the lack of breakups are costing us. Modern films usually skip from the breakup to 6 months later. Sometimes it's a montage, sometimes a title card on a black screen. The character has cut their hair and met someone new who's a better fit for them. The audience never sees month 4. Month 4 is when the texts you're not sending start piling up in your head. You're in a grocery store and you see something you used to buy for them and you have to pretend nothing's happening. You realize that for 4 months you've been wanting to feel okay, and you don't yet. Films skip month 4 because there's nothing to film. Nothing happens that moves the plot forward. So we go from breakup to thriving, with no acknowledgement that the time between exists. And we end up with audiences who think 6 months should be enough. Closure is the next promise these films keep. Two people meet again at a wedding or in their old neighborhood, and they say the things they didn't get to say when they broke up. There's an apology and sometimes a speech, and the audience leaves the theater with their relationship resolved. Real breakups almost never end like this. The thing nobody tells you about ending a relationship is that you don't get the conversation. The other person moves on, sometimes literally to a different city, sometimes by marrying someone else. The questions you wanted answered stay unanswered, and you have to learn to live with not knowing. Films give us closure because closure makes the audience feel safe. It means the ending was supposed to happen, and you can walk out of the cinema knowing the universe is fair. Modern romance has trained us to expect that. When our own breakups don't hand us closure, we read it as something gone wrong, and we end up chasing conversations the other person doesn't want to have. And what modern romance does to closure, it also does to the ex. In modern romance, the ex almost always turns out to have been wrong for you. The film retroactively turns the previous relationship into a mistake. They were too boring or too selfish to deserve you. The new partner shows up and the contrast is supposed to feel like a revelation. The film tells you the issue was just that you hadn't met the right person yet.
What this teaches is that real love erases what came before. And if your previous relationship's still sting, it must mean you haven't found the real thing yet.
The only way the film lets you feel okay about a breakup is to decide the relationship was always doomed. But real life doesn't work like that. People we used to love don't become wrong just because we left them. The person on the other side was real. Their relationship was real. And ending it doesn't change that. Past Lives doesn't tell you Hae-sung was the wrong person, and Blue Valentine doesn't tell you Dean was always going to be a disappointment. The thing that ended was the thing the characters actually loved, and the film lets it stay loved. What modern romance has stopped writing is the breakup that two people make together, and the relationship that stays real after it ends. The absence has been there for years, long enough that most of us don't notice it anymore. We grew up watching films that promised love only ends when somebody deserves it, and that every breakup has somebody to blame. None of that is true, but we keep watching it anyway. The next time something good in your life ends, none of it's going to look like the films told you it would. And you'll spend a long time trying to figure out why.